Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in. You know, today I'm riding to pick up some, Starbucks and stuff for the family, and I'm in my personal car, and in these type of cars, when kind of like a dream car, a lot of times people don't drive them. And people get them and they just let them sit, or it's one of a few cars or many cars, and so the dealerships, they just used to the cars never getting any miles on it. And that ain't how I live, because I believe you should live abundantly, and you shouldn't have a scarcity mindset, and you shouldn't be afraid to live. You shouldn't be afraid to treat yourself. You shouldn't be afraid to splurge on you, because we're waiting for what? Because life gonna end. That's one promise you have, is to die. And so what do you get by not taking yourself out to eat? What do you get? And a lot of times, my wife, she helped me really understand this now. She said to me, and every time an article comes, she'll show me like, this person, that person, died at 55, died at 46, died at 43, died at 65. And she'll say to me, she said, imagine if they were waiting, saving every dime and waiting until 65 to go see Italy. And that's what she put that in my head, and it helped me to realize, and it's biblical. So it's like, yes, you need to be a good steward over your money. Remember when the men were given the talents, and the one who took and multiplied his money, he was given even more money. So yes, invest in your gifts, write your book, start your company, and also save. You learn that even in school with the story of was it the ants and the locusts. And the Bible tells us to study the ant, how hard the ant works and how they store up. So all of that is true. But at the same time, it also tells us that every day gonna have its problems of its own. God clothes the lilies of the field. God feeds the fowls of the air. How much more do you think he'll do for you? And so what I mean by that is, stop living in fear. Stop living in fear and stop worrying so much about tomorrow. And stop, penny pinching, and when you don't necessarily have to. It's seasons where you have to. But you not getting that treat for yourself, you not ordering dessert because that you think that $5 gonna put you in the poorhouse. When you shrink your mindset and you have that limited mindset, what you have to realize is that your mind meets you at where you take it, meaning that what you envision, that's what your mind will start to work toward. That's what you'll be able to. It must be an open house. I'm in my neighborhood, y'all. So y'all touch your nose. Touch your nose. And so look at Elon Musk. I wish he was a Christian, but a lot of Christians get so caught up in scarcity and thinking that because you are of faith, you always have to be coming up the rough side of the mountain, and that you always got to be poor and struggling, and not sure what Bible that come from, but that's what a lot of Christians think. And then you see the atheists, or people who don't really speak of a faith, like a Elon Musk, dreaming with no boundaries. This man sending stuff to the moon. What this man creating. It's not like he Yeah, he's a special individual, but you know why he's a special individual? Because he says he's a special individual. He's not in there coding and doing the rocket science himself. He just had the vision. And then he say, hey, I'm finna get the people that go to school for rocket science, and y'all come on in here. And we finna build this here rocket launcher or this SpaceX company. Hey, he's not in there making the batteries that Tesla run off of, but he say, hey, I got a vision for a vehicle that's not gas operated. Come on in here, let's make this happen. And so what I'm saying is, when you dream bigger and you start to see more and you start to believe, your mind will show you opportunities. But see, when you got a scarcity mindset, you will overlook opportunities because your mind doesn't need it. Because you say, hey, I have this budget that, you know, I got to live off of $100 a week. So guess what? Your mind is only going to see the opportunity that will provide the budget for $100 a week. It's just like when you get a new car or you looking at a car that you want to get. You notice how when you get a car, you start seeing your car 1,000,000 times on the road. Like anybody with your car, you notice that car. When before, you never noticed that car. You get a new pair of shoes. You can pick out them shoes on somebody's feet anywhere. When before, you never noticed them shoes. You never noticed that many people. But it's because you showed it to your mind. So what you have to realize, in order to accomplish something in your life, you first have to see it in your mind. You got to show it to your mind. And when you show it to your mind is going to be unlocked, and then your mind is going to show you opportunity. You're going to recognize things that you did not recognize before just because you stretch your mind. And that's the problem why so many generations of families be just over broke. Y'all know what they say, jobs stand for just over broke. That's why so many generations be just over broke. Because nobody dares to dream. Nobody dares to believe that they can do something. And my daddy, he tell me all the time, he say, son, what you doing is just unfathomable to me. And he's not lying. What he's saying is, where we come from in our lineage, our family, you the only person to do what you're doing. The only person in our entire family to probably even earn 6 figures. Not speaking of 7 figures. But he's saying that. But you know what? I just had a dream. When I was 7 years old, I used to tell my dad all the time, I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to the NFL. He'd be like, no, you're not, because you don't even watch football. I'm like, I don't need to watch football. I'm better than running backs. And running backs ain't good as me. They get 5 yards. I get 50 yards on a carry. I ain't got to watch that. But I just saw a vision of having a platform for Christ. And when I was about 10 years old, I was crying out to Christ. I remember being in the back seat. Me and my little sister, I probably was about 10. And I'm riding, and I just started thinking about God. And just thinking about the magnificence of God. And I said, God, if you real, show me that you real. Show me your face. And I remember looking up in the clouds, and guess what? My mind saw a cloud that was shaped like a face. That's how the mind works. That's how the mind works. A cloud looked like it had 2 holes for eyes, nostrils, shaped like a oval, like a head. And I just was crying, and I started crying, and I started having encounters with God. And then when my dad, when I was young, like, 12, 13, he made me read the book of Proverbs every day. I had to read a chapter, and I would have to read a chapter, and I have to write a paragraph summary of what I read. And so I started reading Proverbs, and in Proverbs, it was saying, like, listen, if you want wisdom, ask God for wisdom. If you need wisdom, ask God for wisdom. So I started saying a prayer, Lord, double my wisdom. Lord, double my wisdom, Lord. And then when I said double my wisdom, I said I need other stuff than wisdom. So I said, Lord, double my faith, double my courage. And I just started praying that prayer every time I thought about it. And so what happened was, at the age of 20, I was talking on the level of a 40-year-old. And so, and I remember sitting down with my granddad. He was my step-granddad. It's not my mom's actual dad, but her sister, some of her siblings' dad. I remember sitting down talking to him, and he was 88 years old. And I was talking to him about life, and I just was, you know, just sharing my thoughts and philosophies on life. And he said to me, he said, son, ain't nothing I could tell you. He was like, son, ain't nothing I could tell you. Because what you saying, you got it. You understand it. Like, you understand manhood. And that's what he said to me. And you know, older people, they rarely have nothing to say. You know, and you 88, you got a lot of wisdom. You just see yourself like that. But that was God showing me something. And then when I went on Oprah, I remember I went on Oprah to tell my story about being a controlling, toxic boyfriend when I was in college. And I'm telling my story, and I remember in the commercial break, Oprah leaned over to me and she said, hey, Tony, what did you mean by this right here, what you said? And I explained to her what I meant by that. And then she came back on the air and she said, and just like Tony said. And then it was another analogy that I had said to the producers on the phone when they interviewed me to see if I was going to be able to tell my story on her show. And the producers gave that analogy to Oprah to use as her own. But that analogy belonged to me. I don't even know if Oprah knew that. She probably gave her producer a raise, thinking her producer came up with that, did the research on that. But that was my analogy that I created in my mind through evaluating my life. And so, but what God was saying to me right then, he was saying, son, the wisdom that you prayed for has been granted to you. And that wisdom is worthy to be spoken from the mountaintops. So here you are on the #1 show in the land, not to be praised. She wasn't promoting my book. I was exposing myself of being a toxic, controlling, abusive boyfriend in college. When I was playing college football, I was telling a story of when I was that type of man. And so it didn't make me no money or anything like that. It was me exposing myself so that I could do the work that I'm doing today. Because I didn't want to ride in like a knight in shining armor, like I was perfect and never did anything. So I exposed myself first before I really went, you know, full-fledged in this work for the Lord. But what the Lord showed me, he said, look, the wisdom you've prayed for, I granted it to you, and it is worthy of being shouted from the mountaintops. Meaning that this woman who got the largest show in the land, this was 2009. Oprah was, at that time, she had the #2 show in the world behind, I think #1 was like Jimmy Kimmel or somebody like that, one of them late night shows that had more viewers than Oprah, because Oprah come on in the daytime like 3 or 4. So a lot of people working. And so, for her to use the wisdom that God had given me, I was 25 years old. It said something to me. But see, now let me explain this to you. What I'm getting at is, it's all in your mind. It's what you say you are. It's who you say you are. It's what you say you capable of. It's what you truly believe. Remember, like the good book say, according to your faith, be it unto you. So if you say, listen, I could make $100,000 a month, guess what? Your mind gonna start showing you every opportunity to make $100,000 a month. And I'm a living witness to that. This ain't no pipe dream. I'm not telling you something I don't live. I'm telling you something that's real. I ain't telling you something that I heard. I'm telling you something that I live. If your mind say, hey, I can make $200,000 in a month, guess what? That's real. If you believe that, you got to believe that though. And then you got to pray on it, and then you got to work on it. Faith without work is dead. So, hey, this is what I need you to understand. This thing real now. This thing real. Like, take them shackles off your mind. Like, your grandma maybe spoke poverty. Your mother maybe spoke poverty. You don't have to speak poverty. You don't have to speak lack. You don't have to speak, you know, dumb. You don't have to call yourself dumb or less than or uneducated. And let me tell you something else. Stop letting man define you. I have a master's degree. I have a PhD. I am a doctorate. PhD and doctorate might be the same thing. Is that the same thing? I wouldn't even know. You know why? Because I don't even have a bachelor's degree. But guess what? Guess what? You wouldn't know it by my life. On one of the apps I order from, it's a little app that I shop from for my wife, I put my name in there as Dr. Tony A. Gaskin. Dr. Tony Gaskin. You hear me? You better call me Doctor. Because, you know, it's just an app. It's just, they mail it to you. So when the packages come, it say Dr. Tony Gaskin. But hey, because I'm a doctor of life. I got a PhD from Mistakes University. And so stop letting people define you, because them definitions of you, that also put a cap on you, because you'll say, hey, I got a bachelor's. That's man-made. So you'll say, well, bachelors earn 30K to 70K. Or you'll say, I got a master's. Well, masters earn 70K to 110. Or I got a PhD. Well, PhD earn 110 to 250. And that's what you'll tell yourself. But you got to take them definitions, them labels, man-made stuff. You got to take that off of you. And you have to define yourself. Who are you? Stop calling yourself a 50,000 a year person and start saying, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. And then you're going to see where you can sell them pies you be baking for your family. Then you're going to see where you can sell them drawings you be drawing. Then you can see you can start charging the organized closets like you be doing. Then you're going to see you can sell that potion you to come up with for your hair or for your skin. You're going to start to see opportunities. Then you can see you can sell, you know, advertising space on your 4-car doors for your friends who own a business. And you drive around on Saturday for 25 miles every Saturday. You know, you're going to just see a random opportunities that help you get to your $1 million goal, because you saying, I'm a millionaire. And guess what? Every millionaire I know, besides a couple, they started with nothing and just said, this is what I could do. I believe I could do this. And it ain't like, you know, they were handsome or beautiful according to the world standards. It wasn't like some unique advantage that they had. It was just a mindset. It wasn't like they were tall and, you know, everything perfect on them. It was just a mindset that said, this is what I could do. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I can do. And then just stepped out and did it. And then the next thing you know, it's like, wow. And a lot of times it comes from adversity. A lot of times it comes from being overlooked or being mistreated or being bullied. You know, don't let that stuff keep you down. Let it motivate you. Turn that pain into purpose. Turn that mess into a message. And a lot of times people who was given everything because of their looks or what have you, because of their family name, a lot of times people who were given everything, that they get comfortable, and that's all they expect is just to be given everything, and they don't go out and really want to grind and really want to work. And then you'll look up and you'll see somebody who, you know, was overlooked or mistreated, just have a dream and go out and get it. Go out and get it. Think about that now. Think about that. Think about the millionaires. Think about the rappers. Think about the rappers. How many of the rappers that without money you would say he fine? How many of them? How many of the rappers, females, women, or males, and singers that you will say he fine, she gorgeous, she beautiful? How many of them? When you look at them, a lot of them, they're just everyday people, but they had a dream and say, this is what I'm finna go do. Wasn't nothing working in their favor. Like Lil Wayne, he 5'6". He's not on any woman list until he became famous and got that money. But before that, when I look at women lists, 90% of women say they want a man 6 foot or taller. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean right there. That's what I mean right there. But so here's somebody who people's overlooking. And go down the list. You know, when you look at these pop culture people, go down the list. People just had a dream and believed that they could do it, believed in themselves, and then next thing you know, making millions of dollars. So think on this now. Think on this. And hey, this Tony Gasson, God bless you. I done got to my destination. We'll talk soon.